Welcome to Know Your Candidate podcast. This is an opportunity for candidates from across Tauranga City wards to tell their stories, their experiences, their reasonings in their own words. A format which gives them more than the public debates and profiles that you've seen already. An opportunity for the voter, the ratepayer, future resident to get to know who you want leading the city and, importantly, are they capable of doing so? Anne Pankhurst, a previous business owner, councillor and political junkie, will find out more why the candidates want to run, where they have come from, what they're going to do. So let's not wait anymore. Let's go.
Hello, we're here with Mahe Drysdale, mayoral candidate for Tauranga City Council. Welcome, Mahe, to Know Your Candidate podcast series.
Thank you for having me, and great to be here to have an opportunity to talk to all the voters of Tauranga.
So just to outline how we're going to do this, our format today is to take the opportunity for a longer, more conversational approach. So you, the candidate, can speak and share your own aspirations for the city. We'll take about 20 to 30 minutes in answering pre-prepared questions of which you've got no idea what they are. The most important aspect of this election is to encourage voting, for you to vote and encourage everyone to vote, because democracy works when we all engage, actively take part and learn about our candidates, understand what is important to us for the future of the city. Remember to follow us on Know Your Candidate series on the podhub.com. So, Mahe, can you give us a rundown on yourself? So who are you? Children, no children, what you've done in the past? Give us that brief bio on yourself.
Yeah, thank you. So I grew up in Tauranga and then went up to Auckland to university. While at university, I started my rowing career, but only at a club level. And I studied a BCom in accounting and commercial law, and then did a graduate diploma in commerce in IT. So had a very broad sort of education. I started working as an accountant, and then rowing sort of took me to Kairapiro, and I spent my last sort of 20 years representing New Zealand in rowing. So yeah, had a pretty interesting and varied career so far. And once I finished rowing, I started working as a financial advisor, and currently working at Forsyth Bar. So yeah, this has come at a time which is I guess I'm still quite early in my career as a financial advisor. I have three young children, 4, 7, and 9, and married to Juliet, who also used to row. And we're sort of in the throes of seeing how this can go. But the reason I had a go at running for mayor is I'm very passionate about Tauranga, with being it's really in my blood. I believe was a really great opportunity to take the city to the next level. And obviously there's no better city in the world, with having some great natural sort of landmarks like the beach and the harbour and Mount Maunganui. So it's a real opportunity to say, look, let's show the country what we can do around the council table, be a leading example of a really high performance, kind of bring that high performance culture that I have from rowing, and do that around the council table, so we can deliver for the citizens of Tauranga. And that is really why I did this. I'm very passionate about it, and I want to have a chance to show what I'm capable of. So hopefully the voters of Tauranga agree with me and get out and vote.
Right. So can you just briefly have you got any previous governance roles, and if so, what kind of budgets did you work with in those?
Yeah, so yes, I have. I've been a director of various companies, trustee for many years, and that was sort of done throughout my rowing career. Since finishing rowing, I've taken on. I'm co-chair of the athletes cooperative, and we are advocating for high performance athletes, and that's been a very interesting, I guess, experience as we've been in a collective bargaining process with High Performance Sport New Zealand, and it continues on with continuing to go through that process through the ERA, and shortly to be going to the employment court to have that sort of hearing. So those are sort of very much the experience, I guess, I've got in that governance space, and obviously I bring a lot more skills to the table, and very passionate about, as I say, bringing that council together, working as a team on behalf of the 161 citizens that live in Tauranga.
So the next question I'd like to ask is, have you worked with or in or alongside TCC at all?
No, I haven't. Not
Right.
with Tauranga City Council. I have had some dealings with Waipa District Council, obviously where that has been my home for the last 20 odd years. So
I'm also not going to ask you a hard question about your home, Mahe, because I think that's been asked 1,000 times before, and we don't need to know that. But what I would ask is, what do you consider the main role of a mayor and councillors to be?
yeah, so the mayor and council, we are the governors of the city, and it's I think this is something that hasn't been understood in a number of ways, and some of the reports that I've read suggest that people aren't quite aware. The way that I see the mayor, and this is outside reading you off any acts or anything like that, is I should be coming to the table without a strong opinion or without a strong view. My job is to listen to the citizens, hear what they're saying, look at the information that is presented to us, and make the best decision on that information, and what the people feel. So we actually represent the city, and we represent the views of the people. So that is very much my focus, and how I think it should be done. Obviously the councillors, I would expect the same. I don't want to hear their opinions and their views. I want to hear what they are hearing from the community, and I want them to make a good judgment call. Once they've heard those views, they've looked at the information, and we get on. But I think it's very important that we do work as a team. We don't have the dysfunction from the past. There's no time in my world for personal attacks. We've just got to be very positive, work together, and get on for the benefit of the people of Tauranga.
So what other roles do you see of the mayor other than at the table and being that leader at the table?
Yeah, that's a good, a really good question. The mayor, I guess, from what I understand, in council business perspective of actually sitting around the table and doing the physical work, is about a 3 day a week job. But the mayor's job is 24/7, and it is about being out there, being seen, connecting with people and facilitating the conversations that need to happen. So you get really to the crux, I guess, of the issue. And again, it's again forming those teams with the right people, so you can actually get to the bottom of issues and find solutions. And very very interested in the community's views. I think again, council is very good at making decisions without that consultation. And for me, who are the best people to make decisions for their local ward or whatever? It's the people that live there every day. It's the people that live, work, and play in that area. They know the problems. They know and hopefully they have some solutions. And we've got to take those on board. And there is going to be times when we don't go with the will of the people, but those decisions will be because strategically, people are very good at understanding the now, but we have to look into the future and what is best for the future. So there will be times that we go against those views, but it'll be because we think this is, in the long term, the best decision, for the people.
So great. And after ribbon cutting, do you see yourself on an aeroplane to Wellington and beating the drum for Tauranga down there?
Oh, absolutely. I think advocating for the city is incredibly important. And again, I don't think the links to central government have been strong enough. I don't see that we are being treated and getting our fair share from government. We are one of the biggest cities in the country. We have the biggest port in the country. Our roads, we have some really good roads. We've got 2 of 3 toll roads in New Zealand. So, why have we got the toll roads? But we do need to get more for, we have a lot of holiday traffic because this is a very attractive place to come. So, we need to advocate and we need to find ways to work together with central government so that we're on the same page and we're delivering for the city and we're not forgotten about.
Right. So the skill set I'd really like to drill down on is the ability and experience that you have in managing complex commercial and political environment. What do you?
Yeah, well, I've lived my life within in the sporting arena of very complex political environments, I guess, with the way that the funding works and the way that we're selected every year and things like that. So I bring a real experience in managing very complex situations and and being able to draw teams together to ultimately achieve. So this is a very unique situation because you're put around the table with 10 people that you have no say over who the other 9 people are. And you've got to come together and work as a team, and that is really the crux of where I believe my skills lie, is that ability to lead. I've been alongside some of the greatest leaders in New Zealand. I've learnt from them. I was the New Zealand Olympic team captain back in 2008. But whenever I've been involved in groups, I've always taken that leadership role. Not because I thought that I was the best leader, but because people identified me as the guy to turn to. So that is very much where I believe my skills lie, is getting the best out of everyone. And I think it's very exciting what we can do in the city.
And I'll just build on that. Potentially, you're going to have a table full of inexperienced people in local government, including yourself, and that bringing it together, that diversity and lack of experience is going to be quite a challenge. How will you manage that?
Yeah, and this is where we have to learn and we have to be open. I genuinely believe that the greatest quality of a leader is to listen. And I've already been out talking to some very experienced people in this space. I'm someone that loves to learn and have been trying to understand what this means and how this all works. So I'll do that. I think when appropriate, that there'll be some training required, but we absolutely have to sort of resource the team and to enable them to succeed and have the right people that can lead that and help us along the way. That is a very, very important skill, to know when you're out of your depth and you need help and to put up your hand and say, look, I don't know. And I'll be completely honest, there's a lot of things I don't know, and I'm not going to pretend to know it. I'll ask the questions and I'll find the answer. So I think that's something that I'll definitely bring to the table is ask, and don't, no question is a stupid question, is very, very important.
I'm really glad to hear you say that, because I have to say that the first day I sat at the table, I was like blinking and didn't stop for 3 months, because you have no idea about externally, you have no idea about the complexity and the decision-making process that you have to do, and the decisions that you're making and the ramifications. So that's a great one. But if funding is or for the huge infrastructure spend that is coming ahead, do you have any other solutions other than ratepayer revenue? Have you given any thought to that?
Yeah, we can't, like, I fundamentally believe, the local body is broken in the fact that we rely very, very heavily on rates revenue. We have to find other funding sources. And I think this is very important around getting behind government. And, I guess this is where we need to work together. Tauranga is desperately short on houses, for example. The government want to build houses, so how do we come together and say, look, let's deliver a solution and let's make it work for us all? And there's plenty of different things. I don't know the solution right now, but something, for example, like GST on new builds, that we share the cost of that, is possibly one of the things that could help us. How do we I guess unlock all that infrastructure, because the council doesn't have the money to pay for that out of rates. How do we work with the developers, for example, to figure out what is the split between development contributions and targeted rates, to pay for that, because we can't just keep taking money from ratepayers, and it's not a bottomless pit. So yeah, absolutely, we need to find new ways. I guess as I said, we've talked about our roads, but why are we not getting our share? Because we have a lot of traffic on these roads, and we should be, there should be a way to figure that out, so we get our share for the people that are using our sort of transport network. So we've got to be open to this and find ways that are best, I guess, best in the business, across the country and probably across the world.
So given that you are one vote at the table when it comes down to it, albeit you might have a casting vote, when you are making a collective decision, potentially it might go against some of the ratepayers or the way they're thinking. How will you manage that conflict of having to make a collective decision against what you think some ratepayers will feel cross about?
Yeah, and again, I very much believe in that accountability and transparency. So, as the leader, whatever the decision is from around the table, I am responsible for that, and I'm responsible to the ratepayers for that. So, I absolutely will stand up and tell them the reasons that we made that decision. Whether that's a decision I supported or not, it doesn't matter. If it comes from the table, I'm the one that has to front them. And I think from my experience, if you explain why, it eases a lot of the pain. And there'll still be people that disagree and say, you got the information wrong, but I'll stand behind what the team decide, and we'll move on. But it's very important to me, again, whether you agree or disagree with a decision, that whatever the will of the table is, you support that and get on with it, and you don't try to undermine or sort of publicly go out and undermine that decision, because once we make a decision, we move on and solve the next issue.
So following on from that particular one, when you have multiple competing interests, such as reasonable rates, new funding models, infrastructure deficit and debt, how do you propose to choose between investing in growth or versus rate relief, where there is a lot of angst sitting at the moment?
Yeah, and really that comes down to me is about value for money. So what are we delivering? And does this make sense? To the ratepayers, and that's pretty much as much as I can really say on it. But I'm not going to deliver anything that does not make sense, for the ratepayers, and I'm not comfortable about standing up and in front of everyone and justifying it. And I think that's, again, that's very important. So, there has to be a little bit of trust here, because you've, as a voter, you've got to choose the person that you believe, will deliver for you, and that's very much, a core value of mine. I've been, honest with myself and to others throughout my career, and never really, I guess, never been scared of the consequence of standing up and saying what I believe, because that's just the way I've lived my life.
So, what I'm really interested in your reaction for this one, moving to a much more, not a global, but a more national view. What is your reaction to the view that Tauranga is a critical part of New Zealand Inc. and its economic growth? So we have to think from time to time, if not often, more nationally than locally, because what happens here matters.
I agree with that 100%. We have the biggest port in New Zealand, and we're a very important cog in New Zealand Inc. I think you bring up a really good question, because we can get very distracted as to what's best for Tauranga, and sometimes what's best for New Zealand might be more important than that really generalized localized decision. But that's, again, I guess, going back to that central government. We can work with them, and actually, and I think that's something that's very important, is getting alongside the interested groups, and saying, how can we solve issues together, and in most cases I believe that what's good for Tauranga is actually good for the country, and I think in a lot of decisions will be aligned like that. But we'll have to make a judgment call as those come up, and again, as I said, any decision we make, I'll front the people and tell them why I made that decision, and if I need to explain it, then so be it.
So Mahe, you've probably had, as a high performance sportsman, had quite a number of examples of this. But can you give an example of a previous leadership role where you didn't quite achieve what you'd hoped for, and what were the lessons that you learned and how you managed that? I'm going to, in inverted commas, say failure.
Yeah, so probably the best example was the men's 8 in 2019. I was in that boat, and we tried to qualify for the Olympics. Unfortunately we finished 6th, and we had to finish 5th to qualify. And that is the crew that went on and won the Olympic gold in 2021. So it was a really good lesson. And I guess for us is we didn't do everything that we needed to do in order to succeed. There was a raft of reasons that happened, and the key thing is failure is a greater teacher than success. And unfortunately, you learn some of these lessons, and Beijing was another example for me. The failure in Beijing set me up for the success I had later on. So that 2019, it was incredibly hard for me. But I was very, very proud. I wasn't in that crew in 2021, but I was very, very proud of what they were able to do, learn from that failure, and go on and have that ultimate success. Even though I wasn't part of it, but and that's the key thing to anything, is is, review, figure out what went wrong, what changes do you need to make, and go and do it again. And that's really the key. If you make the same mistake twice, that is unacceptable to me, because you haven't learned well enough from the first time. And I'll be the first to admit I'm always learning. I still make mistakes, but it's how you respond to those that determines the outcome of future.
Well, Mahe, thank you very much, and I wish you luck with this campaign. I hope you're enjoying it. And I just want to really reiterate again that you remember to vote, tell everyone to vote, and share this link through your networks, and follow us on the podhubs.com. And again, best of luck, and I hope hope it all works out for you. So again, thank you.
Thanks for having me.
A pleasure.
Tune in to the next episode of Know Your Candidate to be informed on who you want to run your city. Got feedback and like to comment your thoughts on the episode? Connect with Know Your Candidate on social. This has been the podhub.com experience. Check out the podhub.com for other podcasts and how you can even do your own.